Hello everyone. This is a guide on how to use your Necromancy stacks in order to optimize damage output. I'll be providing a breakdown for those interested and a short summary with takeaways at the end. Before I start, I want to disclaim that this is not an advanced strategy guide. There are situational exceptions to everything I'm going to conclude. With that being said, let's get into it. We'll start with Residual Souls. We can either expend these individually through soul strikes or all together with a single volley of souls. In either case, the damage done per stack is the same. This is where I'm going to introduce the concept of opportunity cost. Simply put, our choice is at the expense of the alternative's outcome. With Residual Souls, we can choose to fire off soul strikes one after another, or we can dump our reserves all at once and use the time we saved on other abilities. Let's suppose we build up to a stack of 2 Residual Souls and explore both cases. In case 1, we use 2 soul strikes in a row. That amounts to a total of 300% ability damage across 2 global cooldowns. In case 2, we start with a volley of souls. Since the damage done by a 2-stack volley of souls equates to 2 soul strikes, we've done the same 300% ability damage within the first global cooldown. But now we have another global cooldown to deal additional damage. If we follow the volley with a basic ability, that amounts to a total of 400% ability damage across the same 2 global cooldowns. And not only is the damage greater in this case, but we also generated more adrenaline. We can repeat this analysis with 3 or more Residual Souls to find that the difference between the 2 cases only trends upward. The same concept can be applied to determine that more Residual Souls in less volleys is better than less Residual Souls in more volleys. Now let's take a look at Necrosis. We can expend 6 at a time with Fingers of Death, or we can expend them all at once with a Death Grasp like Residual Souls in the volley. Unlike Residual Souls, however, the damage per stack expended isn't uniform across abilities and other influences. Here's a quick breakdown of the 2 abilities. Finger of Death costs 6 Necrosis and deals an average of 300% ability damage, or 315% with Precise 6. That's an average of 50 ability damage per stack, or 53% with Precise 6. Death Grasp deals an average of 450% ability damage, or 472% with Precise 6, plus a flat 40% per Necrosis used. Now let's explore our options. Suppose we build up to a stack of 12 Necrosis and want to make use of Death Grasp. In case 1, we make the most of our Necrosis by expending them all on 2 Fingers of Death. Then we Death Grasp. That's an average of 1050% ability damage across 3 global cooldowns, or 1102% with Precise 6. In case 2, we split the Necrosis between a single Finger of Death and Death Grasp. With the remaining global cooldown, we'll just use a basic ability. That's an average of 1090% ability damage across 3 global cooldowns, or 1132 with Precise 6. We've also partially refunded some of the adrenaline lost due to Death Grasp. In case 3, we start with Death Grasp, dumping all 12 Necrosis at once. Again, we'll fill the remaining global cooldowns with basic abilities. This time we've dealt an average of 1130% ability damage, or 1162% with Precise 6, and refunded most of the adrenaline lost to Death Grasp. We can repeat this analysis for various amounts of Necrosis to find that expenditure through Death Grasp is the better option, except for a couple of situations. One of which is when we're under the effects of Living Death. An empowered Finger of Death is actually strong enough to incentivize the use of Necrosis on it. The other situation is when our damage potential with enough stacks exceeds the damage cap. In this situation, we'll want to use Finger of Death as a Necrosis sink before optionally building some back and using Death Grasp. So to summarize everything, You'll generally want to build up to a full stack of residual souls before unleashing them all through a volley of souls. Whilst under the effects of Living Death, Necrosis are best used on Fingers of Death. Outside of Living Death, you'll want to build up to at least 8 Necrosis before using them all through Death Grasp. The more, the better, but if you risk reaching the hit cap, reduce your stacks with the Finger of Death. And that concludes this guide. I hope this was of value to you. Bye for now.